Mosher Media Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Morning Commute. Again, my New Year's resolution to bring back the podcast series that we did back in the day. They were incredibly successful. I love doing them. And by incredibly successful, I mean that a couple of people listened. And the reality is that if we appeal to our fan base as much as we try to appeal to our list of prospects or our current customers, we could find that maybe there's an overlooked group that could really help us build our careers, build our business, and maybe do more in the community. The reality is the Monday Morning Commute, this podcast might have more listeners that are just fans of our brand or fans of our operation, friends, relatives, those who just might have an interest in knowing what's going on at Mosher Media and may never hire us or work with us in a professional capacity or pay us to make videos. They just like to know what's going on at Mosher Media. Maybe even former employees. We have a lot of friends that have worked for us, a lot of freelancers, a lot of folks in the creative field. Our competitors, especially our competitors. We have a lot of friends in the business who compete with us for jobs. And there are so many well-respected competitors, creatives in the Northeast Ohio creative industry that we respect and admire. And we might include those in our fan base. And the reason I mention all of this is someone asked me, who's my audience? What is the audience for the Monday Morning Podcast, the Monday Morning Commute, the Mosher Media Podcast? Who's listening? My first answer was Google. Google likes content and podcasts and keywords and all of that. So that was my kind of smart answer right off the top. When somebody says, well, who's your audience for this? I just say Google. Because maybe this will help our search engine organic results. But what we want to talk about today is, of course, I always like to talk about my experience from the previous week, experience over the weekend, and of course, what's coming up this week, just to talk about just what's on my mind on a Monday morning as we all get ready to start a new work week. And what a football game we had Saturday night. And I love sports analogies and football analogies, maybe because of the challenge, the teamwork, competition. All of these things exist in every business. But the Bears-Packers game, and because I work early in the morning, I start early, and because of the TV station project here in Akron and hosting an evening primetime talk show and all that we're doing, I'm working the video production business all day and then doing the recordings or a live broadcast at night. I'm working all day and all night and having a blast doing it. So on a Saturday night, I want to watch the Bears-Packers games. And I don't have a horse in this fight, or what do they say, the dog in the fight, or the horse I'm betting on, or all of those analogies. But I kind of want to know what's going on. I love watching football. And so I turned it on at about 7:30, and the Packers are leading at some point, maybe before the half, where they had 21-3, something ridiculous. They had a huge lead, and I start falling asleep because it's at 9 o'clock, and I've decided to stay in, which is the right thing to do at my age. You just got to stay in, But that's a different podcast for a different day. So I wake up, I don't know, maybe it was 10:30, I don't know, but I wake up and I look, and it's Chicago is winning. Or they brought it back. They had this incredible comeback, which is a great story. Unless you're a Green Bay Packers fan, then it's not so great. But they're in Chicago. By the way, I love the Chicago skyline shots they cut away to. But I'm a TV guy, right? So I'm watching the game. I love Goodyear blimp shots from any sports. Where they didn't have the Goodyear blimp. There was dark and rainy and cloudy in Chicago, so they don't have the Goodyear blimp out for the aerials. But they did have beautiful aerial shots, even though it was dark and foggy. And the Willis Tower, Chicago Sears Tower, as they used to call it, into the clouds. Those cool shots. But I could not believe that the Chicago Bears pulled this off. And I started thinking about the idea of the comeback. And those of us in the creative field, especially those of us responsible for building the business, of course, anyone working the creative field knows that you spend 80% of your time looking for clients and looking for work and 20% of your time doing the work. But when you build it as a business and you become the spokesperson, the salesperson, the rainmaker, as they say, then the idea is that you want to keep it going. And some days it's not going well. And all of us have been there in our careers, especially in the creative field, where you start to question when there's no work. What have I done? What am I doing with my life? When there is work in this era, and a lot of folks are facing this, sometimes the work isn't funded properly. And there's a lot of work out there where the clients say, well, we don't have a big budget for this, but you do the work anyway because it's the projects you want to be doing. And all of us have that challenge of the art and the craft and the industry that we love, and we want work. So sometimes we're giving things away, or we're realizing, boy, the budgets used to be there years ago and now they're not there. And you start questioning, what am I doing with my life? Why did I pick this career? The business is not doing well. You feel like you're losing to the opponent 21-3, and that the feeling of despair, and there's no chance for a comeback, but you stay in it. And there are many people who have freelancers. I know I did this early in my career when I was a freelancer, a one-person shop, let's say, that you'd have the side hustle. Your main gig was your freelance career, but you'd have a side hustle on top of that, maybe bartending at night, or now, of course, everybody's doing the DoorDash and Uber Eats and that sort of thing. But that feeling of despair that there's no chance that there's going to be a comeback. And you felt that especially during the pandemic. And is the pandemic buried so far into history that we can't talk about it anymore? We can't lean on that? Are we still, maybe some of us that own a business, maybe have a little bit of trauma because the idea that your business could just close, that you could be told that it's time to send your employees home and you can't have an office anymore. And those of us that are looking at staging a big comeback, rebuilding the business, those that were fortunate enough to stay in business through this difficult time, you think, how am I going to come back from this? And so during the pandemic, I took a little time away from the business. And we are very fortunate that we made it through, and we recognize that so many didn't. And it certainly affected so many in a difficult way that we wouldn't want to talk about it as if, hey, we made it through. It was easy. It was not. And it was very different for everyone. Everyone had their own unique challenges in this time. But I took time off in a way that I stepped back from the business, and there was still client work coming in, but I raised two boys, and they're incredible. And they're now 20 and 19 and launching in life. But in that era, they had it the worst, perhaps, and I guess there's no comparison. Like I said, everybody's journey was different, but their entire high school career was the pandemic. And there's a lot of this generation who experienced the pandemic as freshmen, sophomore, junior, and senior year, so they missed out on a lot of things in a way that, again, we're all lucky to be alive, we're lucky to still be in business, and everybody's experience in that era was different. But I stepped back from the business. I stopped going to networking events, or I wasn't as involved in the chamber as I was, or the ad federation, or all those things I love doing, heart-to-heart communications, various organizations in Akron that I loved being a part of. And I gave a lot of time to and donated a lot of video production services to because I wanted to support and give back to the community, and all of those things are very important. But I stepped back, and there's a thing about a comeback, and the business didn't go out of business, it continued. But I really enjoyed being out in the country. We bought a small piece of property that even before the pandemic, I had been looking for just an old shack or a summer home or a getaway out by the lake. We did not have a lake house. My friends would come out and visit me at this property and say, hey, you're 2 miles from the lake. And this is not a lake house. This is a shack in the country. And I'm like, I know, but I love it. And the boys were in school remotely, so it didn't matter. And I got to tell you, it's a comeback now because now that the boys have graduated high school, I sold that property. I'm devoting all of my time to being back here at work and back in Akron. I've been writing a lot of emails lately to these organizations to say, I know you haven't heard from me in a while, but here's why. And I stepped back. And of course, a lot of these networking groups and a lot of organizations shut down in 2020, 2021, that era. But now here we are in 2026. It's January 12th, 2026, time to get back to work. So here we are. And I would like to say that we're not exactly losing 3-21. We're doing great, and we're very fortunate. We count our blessings. But what I want to share today is that we made it through that era, and I made it through that because of our senior producer, Justin Stein. And Justin Stein maintained all the client relationships in that era and took the lead so that I could remain focused on getting my boys through high school. And it was a challenge. Number one, I'm not an educator, and I have tremendous respect for educators. And boy, anyone who was parenting a child in school during the pandemic gained a whole new level of respect for an educator when we had to take on some of the work teaching our kids at home during remote learning. Very challenging and eye-opening. And the boys graduated. We got them through. And the clients stayed with us. And there wasn't as much work. Certainly the business cut back tremendously. But now people are coming back. The work is coming back. The whole world is coming back. And it's tough to talk about. Like, how could we say we're still recovering? Is it a comeback? I've been writing a lot of emails lately that say, hey, I'm back involved in this, and here's what my story was. And thank you to Justin Stein for keeping the Mosher Media client list happy, because he took on a lot of that work while I was taking a little step back. So looking forward to being involved in the Greater Akron Chamber, the Downtown Akron Partnership, Heart to Heart Communications, WAOH Television, our community service project, the local TV station we're building for Akron. I am back, and I am thrilled with what I devoted my time to during that era. The results are wonderful. The boys are doing great. I could not be more proud of them, and not because I'm a great parent, but because they are great kids. Great young adults now. So that's what's going on at Mosher Media, is we're going to stage a comeback. And fortunately, it's going to be fairly easy because of you. You stayed with us. You listen to these podcasts. You follow us here on YouTube and on all the platforms that we're on here on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being our fan base, because I believe it's very possible that the comeback will be even stronger because we have fans. And again, folks who may not be our customers, and they may not be on my prospect list. They're on our supporter list. They just believe in what we're doing. Maybe folks that are former interns, former employees, and friends and family, and those who are just rooting for us. And again, any of the members of those groups knows Justin Stein, senior producer at Mosher Media, celebrating, get this, 20 years this year with Mosher Media. So that's one thing we'll be focusing on in a lot of social media, is that the vice president, let's say, our senior producer, I always call him the vice president. His title is senior producer, but we couldn't have done it through all of this, through the last 20 years without Justin Stein. So, and I know Justin watches these every Monday morning all the way through, and I'm sure he'll be texting me right now saying thank you. And I'll say thank you for 20 years of serving our customers and being an incredible professional and keeping Mosher Media going. So here's to a big comeback, even though we really didn't go anywhere. And we're looking forward to 2026, looking forward to a great work week. Hope you have a great work week. Thank you for listening to the Monday Morning Commute here on the Mosher Media Podcast. We hope to connect soon. Thanks for watching.
Mosher Media Podcast.